Collapses galore. The Giants, the Jaguars, and the Bills stunned, plus another gambling scandal in professional sports. Where else would you rather be but right here, right now, for the D.A. Sunday Pig Pile? Look at those beautiful Zubaz sunglasses and all those little winkers surrounding me. We have tons of winkers today because, boy, oh boy, what a day it was around the National Football League. So glad you're with us, everybody. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. That way you get notified when we go live on Sunday nights for Watch D.A. Live. And when we go live throughout the week, we will have an upcoming Ask D.A. Anything for all channel members. So make sure you are subscribed. And if you'd like the Inner Sanctum tour of the place, stay tuned for an upcoming Ask D.A. Anything. Our November monthly is here. I'll give you details coming up here shortly on that. That's all straight ahead. Make sure you're subscribed. And as always, we have your Fitz Magic on the day and your Little Mo Laugh on the day. But before we get there, it's time for the Furious Five. Let's give the Bills F for effort, shall we? The Bills made the Dolphins look like a competent football team. The Buffalo Bills made the dead Dolphins look alive and well. Somehow, the Buffalo Bills tried their damnedest to take a dead franchise and raise them from the dead and give them renewed optimism, energy, and life. And the Bills played their single worst effort, not only of the season, but perhaps the last 5, 6, maybe the entire Sean McDermott era in years. It was a ghastly, grotesque effort where the Bills did not score until the fourth quarter against one of the single worst defenses in the NFL. And remember that we are 7 days removed from the Bills beating up on the Kansas City Chiefs. And so here is what is maddening for every Bills fan out there, and I'm sure this is going to be the key to all of the Bills' questions about themselves this week. How can we be that good and then that bad? And those guys have to ask themselves that in the mirror. Those guys have to ask themselves that in meetings. That coaching staff has to ask themselves why they would allow that, how this could have happened. And therein lies the rub for the Buffalo Bills. They are good enough to play toe-to-toe with the Chiefs for 4 quarters. They are good enough to pick apart the Carolina Panthers. They are good enough to have made that incredible comeback against the Baltimore Ravens to open up the season when Lamar and Derrick Henry were both in there for the Ravens. And they are bad enough to have that slop out there like they did today against the Dolphins. And why and what? And you watch the Patriots continue to stack wins, and you watch little separation grow between the Pats and the Bills in the division, and you have to ask yourself this: can the Buffalo Bills get to that Super Bowl if they don't have a home game? Because right now, they wouldn't win the AFC East, and they would be a 6 or a 7 seed in the AFC, and that means you're on the road 3 straight weeks. The question becomes how the Buffalo Bills can lose their focus so badly that they would allow the dead Dolphins to come to life. How the Bills could come off dominating the Chiefs and put that ugly, disgusting effort on film. It's anybody's guess. I don't know. I don't know why that stuff would happen. I don't know why that coaching staff can't get more out of them. I don't know why this has been their bugaboo all season long. But there is an AFC to be had here because the Colts aren't world beaters and the Broncos aren't world beaters and the Patriots aren't world beaters. There is an AFC here where the Chiefs and the Bills might both be wild cards. And Buffalo went to sleep for the entire day to make that Dolphins team look good, and that's tough to do. Next up. Well, when we talk about stunning performances, nothing should be stunning at this point in time about the Giants blowing leads. I'm going to give you a stat here, and this is just delightful. For the New York Giants, they have had 3 losses in which their win probability was 93% or higher. The collapse against the Cowboys, the collapse against the Broncos, and now today against the Bears, a 10-point lead with 4 minutes to play, and they found a way to lose that one too. That's 3 losses with win probabilities over 93%. 3 losses when you could have had 3 wins by just 1 or 2 plays. That's 3 losses, and we're not even at Thanksgiving yet, of losses that should have been wins, and they created their own sets of problems. Brian Daboll, you got to go. That's it. And the report this week from our fine fleshy friend, Mraz, who said his sources told him that Daboll was going to be fired the moment that plane landed from Denver. But that ownership got talked out of it, talked down off the ledge. Well, I don't think there's much reason to keep Daboll around the rest of the year. Not only because they continue to blow these leads in the fourth quarter and or overtime, but also because this guy is, I think, putting Jackson Dart's health at risk to save his job. Once again, another head injury for Jackson Dart. Why? Well, because Jackson Dart does play recklessly at times, but also it feels like Dart, as part of this game plan, is do whatever you can to gain the extra inch or extra yard. And I don't know if it's the message that's not getting through to Dart from Brian Daboll, or Daboll doesn't have that message coming out of his mouth. Maybe because he wants Dart to play desperately so that Daboll can save his job. But this is wild. Jackson Dart has more rushing touchdowns this season than Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Ashton Genty, Bijan Robinson, Rico Dowdle, and Devon Achane. A quarterback, especially a rookie, who did not start the season at starter, should not have more rushing touchdowns than all of those full-time running backs. But that's how often they're putting Jackson Dart in danger. How many different times can you watch him get crushed, blown up, tackled violently? How often are these designed runs, or is this him optioning? Whatever the case is, Brian Daboll's putting him in harm's way or not teaching him enough about not putting himself in harm's way. And it's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. And so Brian Daboll cannot come back next year. He cannot be the head coach of the New York Giants next season. And if I'm the New York Giants, I'm firing him on Monday. It's over. It's just basically playing out the string now. And if it's going to save your franchise quarterback to take Daboll off of the sideline, then you should do it. Because Dart has something. Dart has ability. Dart can be a guy, but he can't be a guy if he's got multiple concussions, head injuries, and a million hits to his body over the course of a rookie season. Daboll's got to go. He's got to go, and he's got to go tomorrow. End of discussion. Next up in your Furious Five. The Jacksonville Jaguars should be ashamed of themselves. That on a day of embarrassment in Buffalo for the Giants and some other places as well, the Jaguars top the embarrassment scale, I think. How do they do that? Well, they built a massive lead against the Houston Texans, 29-10 in the fourth quarter. And the Houston Texans didn't have C.J. Stroud under center. They had Davis Mills. And the Jaguars fighting for their playoff lives. The Colts are atop the AFC South, but the Jaguars have designs on maybe chasing down the Colts or at least being a wild card. Blew a 29-10 lead because Davis Mills turned into Joe Montana for a quarter. Down 29-10. Mills to Higgins, 12 yards out, touchdown. 5 minutes later, Mills to Dalton Schultz, 7 yards out, touchdown. Then a couple of minutes later, Davis Mills, 14 yards out, a rushing touchdown. And that gave the Texans the lead. And then the strip sack or the fumble recovery of Trevor Lawrence goes the other way. Final score, the Texans 36, the Jaguars 29, all behind Davis freaking Mills. Davis Mills threw for 292, a pair of touchdowns, and ran for another. Davis Mills combined for more than 300 yards of offense and 3 touchdowns. Jags, don't even get on that plane to come home. Don't even bother because they don't want to see you in Jacksonville. You gave the Texans life in the division, and you also shot yourselves in the foot and allowed it to happen under the watch of Davis Mills. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. I can't figure out what's more embarrassing, how Liam Cohen pronounced Duval to open up his press conference career in Jacksonville, or this one, because that is mighty disgusting. Next up, another day, another betting scandal. This is the latest from Major League Baseball. Oh boy. The Guardians have 2 players, Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, indicted for pitch rigging, charged with fraud, conspiracy, and bribery stemming from an alleged scheme to rig single pitches that led to gamblers winning hundreds of thousands of dollars, according to an indictment unsealed by federal prosecutors today. Luis Ortiz, arrested this morning in Boston, will be in court on Monday. Clase is not in custody at the moment. Now, this is on the heels of the Terry Rozier and that whole thing with the NBA a couple of weeks ago, right? And this obviously is wrapped up into a much larger picture of multiple athletes, multiple sports getting dinged, wrapped up in all these types of gambling scandals. Clase and Ortiz could face up to 20 years in prison for wire fraud conspiracy and money laundering conspiracy as well, and conspiracy to influence sporting events by bribery. Okay, so this is a big deal because Clase is also a pretty good player. He's a 3-time All-Star and a 2-time reliever of the year. All right, so this is not just a bunch of no-name guys. And this is what goes back to Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier. Rozier was playing on a $100 million contract. Chauncey Billups is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame. But when you have Clase allegedly throwing balls instead of strikes and sliders instead of cutters on the first pitch of at-bats, where bettors could wager on those individual pitches, you've got an issue. And what you have here, once again, is prop bet hell for all of these leagues. Once upon a time, if athletes wanted to, quote, fix games to make money, they had to point shave. They had to affect the entire team's points or runs scored. Okay? Now you can just affect minute parts of the game, and you're not even getting into the overall outcome of the game. So when you have money on prop bets And guys, gals can get rich on that. And players can leverage and manipulate that. There's too many parts of a game that can now be artificially manipulated for gain, and you can't get rid of it. Okay? You just can't. And so this, just like the NBA scandal, is a problem. It's a problem for bettors. It's a problem for the sports audience. It's a problem for the players. It's a problem for the organizations. But here's the bigger problem. I'm not sure we care. Not sure we care, because the NBA has this huge black eye. They've got players and coaches named in these suits, named in these indictments, named in these arrests. And have you felt as though the NBA has lost its popularity since then in the first couple of weeks of the NBA season? Does it feel like a cloud is hovering overhead? We all know it happened. But I don't get a sense that the people that really loved the NBA suddenly got turned off to it. And I would say the same thing about this with Major League Baseball. Maybe enough of this is death by 1,000 paper cuts. Maybe if you have a never-ending parade, which it's going to be, if you keep looking close enough, you'll find gambling scandals many more times over. Maybe there's a never-ending drumbeat of these types of things. Fans will eventually start being turned away. But after baseball's World Series, do we really think the popularity of the sport will suffer because of these two guys? Do we really feel like the popularity of the sports are at risk? And if it's not, my worry is that there really is no ramifications. Of course, the guys could go to jail. That's their ramifications. But in terms of the sport in general, like, you won't lose any sleep if Ortiz and Clase go to jail. But more importantly, in sports, will you no longer watch? Will we no longer watch? Will we no longer care? And I just don't sense that. And that's why I think these leagues can talk a good game. Oh, we're very, very disappointed by this. Oh, this is a big deal. Oh, we have to get a hold on this. I'm not sure there's really ramifications, which is a bummer, because you'd like the leagues to have to pay the price for this type of stuff. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I sense that a bunch of people will be turned off to sports because of this, and this won't be the end of it. I guarantee you that. All right, finally, how about Dan Campbell today? This was very interesting. This was a report before the game when the Lions had played, getting ready to play the Commanders, and that Dan Campbell had taken over offensive play calling duties from John Morton. Now, we know that losing their OC in the offseason, there was a lot of scrutiny on John Morton. Fox cameras constantly caught Dan Campbell looking like he was relaying plays to Jared Goff. And he had the play call in the sheets, which he usually does, and the headset on, but it looked like he was calling the plays. And according to Detroit Football Network's Justin Rogers, his report is, yes, Campbell has taken over the play calling duties. Now, this is interesting because it suggests that something was going on with John Morton that the players were not happy with. And that was another series of reports today that there was a disconnect between the players and John Morton's play calling. So it looked really good against the Commanders. The Lions offense was often running against the Commanders. And I think what we're seeing here is that Dan Campbell is not only a great motivator, but Dan Campbell's turning into a damn good football coach. And I know we have 2 debacle playoff losses that he has to own. And what happened in San Francisco a couple of years ago will never be forgotten in Detroit. And the loss to the Commanders in the NFC divisional round, one and done last year, also was devastating. But the Lions lost an elite play caller in the offseason, and Dan Campbell has steadied the waters enough to their 6-3, and the offense has been pretty darn good multiple times this season with a new play caller. And I think What we don't see behind the scenes is that there's been some choppiness, and he has steered the ship well enough to where they are right now one of the best teams in football. Now, they've been pretty up and down. Obviously, the loss against the Vikings last week was not a good performance. They had that ugly loss against the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. That was an ugly one, too. But by and large, the Lions are once again pointed towards the playoffs, and it has not been smooth sailing behind the scenes, and you wouldn't know it from the way that they've handled a lot of the tough moments of the season. And Campbell now grabbing control of things and calling plays as well is pretty notable, because he really hasn't had a specific part of the team that he's had the sophistication or authority over. He doesn't do the defense. He doesn't do the offense. He's just kind of a, overseeing CEO and motivational speaker. And yet here he is going, no, I will take over the offense, play calling duties if we need it. And now we need it right now. That's damn good coaching. And I know that the Commanders are right now out of it and no Jaden Daniels. And so, you get him at a good time. But that's damn good coaching from Dan Campbell. And he deserves a lot of credit for not just being a rah-rah glorified gym teacher that says funny things at press conferences and stalks the sideline, but instead having a point of emphasis and being able to grab control and execute the way things need to be executed, even though something obviously behind the scenes is not working out very well. It's damn good coaching by Dan Campbell. All right, love to get your comments in here. Make sure you are leaving those comments, and we will read through those coming up in beam-ups, of course. And for the members, yes, members, gather around. We love the channel members here at Watch D.A. Live and on this YouTube channel. If you're a member, you've got all these wonderful emojis to use in the comment section. You'll see, if you're on YouTube right now, all of those tremendous loyalty badges next to their names. You have a lot of orange ones, which is my mug in orange and yellow, which you got to love. It makes me look like a Cheetos paw. And that's based on how long they've been members for. So I absolutely love that. We've got orange ones. We've got green ones. I'm seeing a whole bunch of cinnamon berries in the comment section as well. You have to love it. You see them all. Fisher the Clown making tacos, Stunned to a News, Bears with Tails, Rosie the Cat. Rosie has been an absolute superstar around these parts. It's starting to get colder around here in New York. She's nuzzling up, cuddling up on the couch. I sit down to watch a movie. I sit down to watch a game. There she is right next to me, keeping me warm. I'm keeping her warm. She's been fantastic. She came into my studio the other day. I was doing some editing of a piece. She came, jumped on my lap, wanted to see how the editing was going. I said, Rosie, it's going great. Then she hopped up on the windowsill to watch the birds. Rosie, full form. She loves this time of year. A lot of action around here with Rosie. And the piece that I was editing with Rosie was the Buffalo Bar Tab. And I highly encourage you to watch that. And when you have a couple of minutes, because I think it came out great. Not to toot my own horn, but I think it came out great. I took all this footage, I had all this footage taken of me when I bought 2 hours of a bar tab in Buffalo a month ago. Went up there for the Bills and Saints game, and I put down the credit card and said, 2 hours, it's on me. Let's see how much damage we can do. And these people did some damage. These people, boys, Buffalo a drinking town, they did some damage. But in the middle of it, we've got chants. I'm standing on stools. I'm talking to listeners that have been going back with me more than a decade, to the overnights. I'm doing, all types of talking to all these fun, cool people, with a bunch of guys coming after golfing. They were all wearing roosters on their matching polos. The explanation why was quite interesting and not for air here, but I highly encourage you to check it out on the YouTube page, the Buffalo Bar Tab. What happens when I paid for 2 hours plus of everybody in this bar drinking? It's phenomenal. It really, really is phenomenal. And the final number that we get to on that tab, whoa. You'll see it. You'll see it. It's an omen of something. Although they lost today, so in gruesome fashion. So I don't know. But that's available right now. Check it out. Very, very cool. And thanks to everybody who is a channel member. As I mentioned before, we will have a members-only Ask DA Anything this month coming up here this week, okay? This week, all right? This week, Ask DA Anything, all right? I will announce it on social media when we're doing it. It's either going to be Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, okay? Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, we will do Ask DA Anything. All channel members invited, get behind the scenes, okay? And for the low, low price of less than a chicken sandwich, you get full access to exclusive videos, Ask DA Anything behind the scenes, and the use of all these custom emojis, loyalty badges, and much, much more, and a permanent discount at the merchandise store. What could be better than that? It is time for Fitz Magic. Let's see some of the best fits of the NFL day, shall we? And we begin with a guy who's not really known for big charisma or big personality, Mr. Mac Jones. All right? Mac Jones, look at these suits he's been wearing. Now, we do need to remember that Mac was the guy who was photographed after the national championship at Alabama, shirtless with a big cigar in his face. So he does have a little pizzazz to him. But those are some nice suits we're looking at. I mean, some of those almost look like Batman villain suits, which not many people can pull it off. And I'm not sure he's pulling it off either, but I give him credit. Mac Jones, as a starter, trying to show out. Although today against the Rams, not so good. Next up, remember Isaiah Rodgers earlier in the year for the Vikings? Had that insane game, the Isaiah Rodgers game. But here you go, Isaiah Rodgers. Look, I mean, talk about being dressed for a Mace rap video in 1997. That's looking slick. I mean, he could be Jamiroquai with that thing. That's all sleek and space age. That is a very 90s ML. That's a very Y2K vibe. And I'm here for it. I like all of that. Isaiah Rodgers looking good. And finally, Andrew Siciliano, who is a friend of this show. He has come on this program before. He is the voice of the Cleveland Browns, longtime NFL Network host. There he is at MetLife. Browns playing the Jets today. Who is that photog he's with? Any guesses? Speaking of 90s hip hop, how about Method Man? That's right. Meth, the Woo, as a celebrity photographer at Browns Jets. Amazing. Now, Meth is a big Jets fan, so I guess that's why he's doing this. He's got that cool NFL vest. He's got the credential. He's got a badass camera as well. Here's my only issue. Why subject Method Man to Browns Jets? Let's get him to a better game. Let's fly him somewhere. When he applies for Jets Browns, somebody, the NFL's got to go, hey, you don't have to do this. We can get you a better game. You want to go Sunday Night Football? Maybe the Monday Nighter? We'll get you to Lambeau. Eagles, Packers. You don't need to sit through Jets Browns. That's not right. That's just not right. That is amazing. Fitz Magic here on Watch D.A. Live, the Sunday Pig Pile. Okay, let's get to a very important part of today's show. If you've been listening to my radio show, you know the Marquette Marvel, Aiden Hatton, has been a crucial part of my show for a long time. He originally was a student at Marquette University during pandemic, listening to the show. He grew up in Boston. He remembers me from 98.5 The Sports Hub. And he came and found the show on CBS Sports Radio. And at Marquette, he was really a big fan of the show, big fan of Mraz. And he got his start by emailing us some puns for the headlines we would use on the digital show, on the streaming show. Well, one thing led to another, and I just thought he had great ambition. He was so smart, very funny. He got the show. So you want to intern? And so then Aiden became an intern for our show. Well, from there on, Aiden and I kind of hit it off, and he's always been part of the show lore. The Marquette Marvel lives forever. And when I launched this YouTube channel, 2 years ago, I said, we're going to do a Sunday night show live every single week, and I need an executive producer. And I could think of nobody better than Aiden, because he knew me, he knew the show, I knew he was a hard worker, I knew he was smart and clever and funny, and he just got it. And he's, as he always did, down for anything. He's like, absolutely, I'm in. So we've built this thing together here, and we've had some other faces come through and help out and do this or do that, and they've all been incredibly valuable. But Aiden has a spot here on this show, on this channel, for this project that is as deep as it gets. And it is bittersweet, but I am so proud of him. He works at NBC Sports Boston, and they are giving him a big-time promotion. And so now his Sundays are going to be gobbled up doing a bunch of awesome work for NBC Sports Boston, and he's totally deserving of it. But unfortunately, it won't allow him time to still be a full-time executive producer of Watch D.A. Live. And so Aiden will be part of this channel forever, because basically he's an indentured servant. He's got to work for me. It's not just 7 years, it's like 70 years. But it'll be kind of here, there, everywhere. It will not be every Sunday night. And so with that in mind, tonight's his final show. And so Aiden, come on camera here and let us do the swan song, because you've got a very creative way to go out on your terms. And I really like what you came up with. Last week we were thinking, like, what are we going to do here for this? And I said, just you stew on, you cook something up, you're creative, and you did exactly that.
Thank you. And I appreciate the words. And I had a lot of similar sentiments to share with the audience. This is come together pretty quickly, but even in that start of doing the show and really building it from the ground at the end of 2023, which was over 2 years ago now. Our first show was at the beginning of 2024. Gosh, we've done trips to, the show has been taken to Buffalo, to Oakland, to Long Island for Bob's Bar, which is one of my favorite memories of this past year and doing the show in total. We've had partnerships with sponsors, and our friends at Last Dive Bar have become real friends, and our friends at Santo Tequila are going to get me through the rest of this show, because I think Lord knows I need to take a pull to give myself an extra breath and to celebrate you all, get a little loose on the air to you tonight. So cheers to the D-Aliens.
Very nice. There, look at this, right out of the bottle. This is a man's man right here. That is a guy that grew up in New England and went to school in the Midwest and knows how to party.
That is so smooth. And I only save this for special occasions, but this is a special occasion. And, it's been such an honor to both start up and build this show. And the humans that come to this platform are the best. It has become such a real fabric of my life. And that's why it's, mixed emotions that this is my last show as executive producer. As DA mentioned, I'm just making the transition from producer to fan, and you'll see me a lot. But as every Sunday, that part of it is coming to an end, unfortunately. And yes, I've received a new opportunity that, I'm devoting my full attention to, and honestly spearheading this show and the effort that we try to put into it each and every week. It's a passion project that deserves someone that can put their all into it. And, DA and I are working together to make sure that next phase of the show is smooth as Santo.
Very nice.
There's all love in this, no hard feelings. DA, I've always thanked you, and I'll thank you again for always supporting me in the way that you have. And I know I'm not the only one who has benefited from your support. So, yes, we have a fun idea to close this chapter of the show. And, if you remember how I came onto the scene on air, yes, it was the year 2021, which is going back 4 years ago, that I wrote a project for school at Marquette. Yes, this was a real graded assignment that said, hey, let's it was called a listicle for those in the trade. They know what a listicle is. And you had to create sort of a top 10 list of things that it was an industry you're interested in, some sort of informative piece, right? And it was coming to the end of it was coming to the deadline. Of course, like every college student, I'm like, all right, we're going to have fun with this. We're going to get it in, but we're going to do something silly. And I wrote about DA show headlines and puns and said, I love the show. I'm interested in media, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history. And that was the first time that I had become sort of an on-air presence. That I've listened to you, DA, as you know, since, probably 2017, 2018. So it's been a long time. But since I am now so blessed to be able to create the puns for this show, we're going to do a pun bracket.
Yeah, yes, which is great because you're also our college basketball insider. And so this is all types of perfect. Everything kind of comes together here.
So we've created a bracket that puts together every single pun. Excuse me, the best 16 puns. I was going through and I thought, wow, in 2 years, we've had some great puns. And as I set up the camera here so professionally, we're going to make sure that everybody sees this. And we're going to go through them one by one. So
perfect.
let's have you contribute. DA, you want to contribute a couple thoughts before we get started, before I set my camera up here correctly?
Well, just in terms of puns, it's something that is like a pure passion of mine. I just love wordplay. I love puns. And so really it was a competition between me and Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch D.A., where we would try to outdo one another with crazy puns. And sometimes Mraz would jump in and have a couple of them himself. But when we got to Sirius XM, we didn't have a live stream of the show. And so all the puns were baked into this show on Sunday nights. And Aiden took that and ran with it. And so I give Aiden the topics I want to talk about in the Furious 5, and then he does all of the pun work. And I have to say, the teacher became the student and the student became the teacher, because I think a lot of his puns actually were better than anything I could have come up with. I was very proud at CBS that I had some elite puns, and we talked about that often on the radio show and the PGP. But I think he has some that I'm like, damn, that's good. I wish I could have come up with that. So I'm very excited to see you seeding your own 16 puns.
And I came up with 16, not just for a number and not just because I love college basketball. You're going to see me hopefully back for making tacos coming soon. This was a first big week for college basketball. I won't subject the audience to week 1 college basketball analysis, but this is a close second. So in true Steve Kornacki NBC style fashion here, I got my blazer, I got my DA shirt, and we're going to go region by region. Okay. In your top left, you have the tacos region. We go down south to the Santo region. Then on the upper right-hand side, we have the toxic waste region. Yes, one sour moment back in effect. And then finally on the bottom right, we have the no-bake region. So this is all the foods that come together in the DA universe. That's a real hat tip if you know the no-bake region. Shout out to Randy Trask and his no-bake cookies that he brought to Bob's Bar. Unbelievable. So in terms of food and drink, these are the 4 that you have to include as the naming of the regions.
I love it. These are very, very good regions. I would like to attend any of those regions. Those are good pods to attend.
All right. I'm hoping that you can see. Can we do a quick live producing and see if the words are correct or is it reverse? Because I can change it.
No, the words are correct, but I think you need to go one shot on this because with me, it's not zoomed in enough. So,
okay, so let's do a full one shot here and get as close as we can. Yes, this is a very professional operation, as you can see. And let's go one by one here. I named 4 1 seeds. We're going to go to the tacos region. The 1 seed, when Victor Wembanyama went to the Shaolin Temple, the headline was Zen Banyama.
That's good.
Number 2, that same region, when Duke suffered the epic collapse to Houston in the Final Four, Oh Brotherhood. In number 3, when the Bills lose a game, just like they did today, I should have repeated this headline, but we don't repeat. The headline was No Buffalo Trace. I was a fan of that. And the 4 seed in the tacos region, when Terry McLaurin was coming back from his injury this offseason, we went with a show-on-show headline, Cinnamon Terry. So that's how the region looks.
Nice.
And I don't know if you want to go one by, or we can see the whole bracket. We can go through these fast.
Well, is it just how I'm voting?
I feel like you should vote. I feel like this can't be all about me. I'm leaving, so this can't be all about me. You have to carry on the next generation of the show.
So what's my 1 versus 4 there?
1 versus 4, Zenbanyama versus Cinnamon Terry.
Zenbanyama.
Yeah,
that's great.
And then 2 seed, Oh Brotherhood or No Buffalo Trace.
What's the Brotherhood reference there?
Duke basketball losing in the Final Four.
But what's the Brotherhood reference?
Oh, I get. Yeah, we're moving on. No Buffalo Trace. Because Duke basketball is, maybe I'm too much of a college basketball sicko, but Duke is known as the Brotherhood.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's why.
Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, no Buffalo Trace.
That goes to the Trace.
Yep.
You want to send one to the Final Four? Zenbanyama versus No Buffalo Trace.
Both very good, but Zenbanyama. Yeah. I mean, because, again, Wembanyama went to a Shaolin temple to find Zen. So that was a very good one.
Very good. Also, some would call it Sports Zen, which is another segment that we
That's right.
We're on Watch D.A Live. Let's go to the Santo region, shall we? The number 1 seed in the region. I feel like Greg Gumbel. This is awesome. Sam Darnold, back when he was a Viking last year, went to Lambeau Field and beat the Packers. The headline that day was Sambo Field. That's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, speaking of the Packers, their current quarterback, we were looking to see a lot more from him. And I know D.A. was captaining the ship for the Packers bandwagon last year. Yeah. There was a story we did about how Jordan Love, did he need to do more? The headline, Fair Jordan.
Oh,
number 3.
Good. Yeah.
The former Packers quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, he has been very vocal and not afraid to share who he does not like. That story that we did, we could have done this story this week. We probably did this story 7 times in our 2 years doing the show. Aaron of grievances. That's number 3.
Yeah.
And finally, number 4, Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines, after their cheating scandal, does the championship get tainted? The headline was khaki stained. So those are your 4.
Aaron of grievances absolutely moves on.
Yep.
And then
Sambo Field versus khaki stained.
That's the matchup?
That's the match. 1 versus 4.
Okay. It's Sambo Field because it's corny. It's corny. It's very corny,
I feel
which
like
I love.
Charles Barkley writing with my bad handwriting here.
And Aaron of grievances moves into the Final Four.
Wow, we have our first upset, folks.
Very
Aaron
good.
of grievances into the Final Four.
Very good. Okay, over to the other side.
The toxic waste region, which I know more than anybody. Our number 1 seed, when Bill Belichick took over the North Carolina Tar Heels, some questioned his balance of power. The headline, Belichick's imbalances. That's number 1.
Excellent.
And NBC Sports Boston has seen that headline as well. I'm very happy with that one. We're reusing that. Number 2, this actually was a recent one. The Bears started off a little shaky at the beginning of this year, but Caleb Williams steadied the ship, got their first win at home. That's an important note. Headline, At Ease, Soldier. That's number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, I may have underseeded this one. NBA Draft 2024. LeBron James Jr., Bronny, he gets drafted to the Lakers. Some questioned whether that draft pick should have been used on a Bronny James. Your headline there, Junior minted. That's number 3.
Okay.
And then finally, number 4, Bills and Ravens. This was the playoffs this past winter.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, he had a couple notable moments here in the playoffs last year. There was one good one and there was one bad one. The bad one was against the Bills, and he drops the pass on 4th down. Bills go on to win the game. We talked about it, and he was the center of attention, albeit in a losing fashion. So for the Bills, The headline was St. Andrews. So that's
Good.
how the toxic waste region looks. 1 verse 4 is Belichick's imbalances versus
Belichick's imbalances. Belichick's imbalances. Excellent.
At East Soldier versus Junior Minted.
Junior Minted, because it's so silly. Junior Minted.
They're very refreshing.
and Belichick imbalance.
Belichick versus Junior Minted.
Belichick's imbalances is going to the Final Four.
Belichick's imbalances, and if you're keeping score at home, which I know you are, Belichick's imbalances marks the second 1 seed heading to the Final Four.
Okay.
A lot of
All right,
chops so far.
just give us the matchups here so we can move through this final region.
Number 1 is in the no-bake region. This is actually a last week one. Since You've Been Gone. You're a big fan of that one from the Bengals.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, since
the number
CINC.
CINC, You've Been
so
Gone.
Good.
Their defense has been
good.
so bad. Versus number 4, when the Lions went on a huge win streak last year, Can't Lose Yourself. Hat tip to Eminem there. And then number 2, also another Bengals one. I didn't even plan this. Welcome to the Bungle. That was also a bad Bengals one last year. Against number 3 seed a couple weeks ago when James Franklin gets canned, To Be Frank. So that's how the matchups look.
The 2 Bengals move on. Since You've Been Gone and Welcome to the Bungle are great. Great. Welcome to the Bungle. It's great.
Since You've Been Gone versus Welcome to the Bungle.
It comes down to would I be impressed if I came up with it myself? That's what has to move into the Final Four. Since You've Been Gone. Since You've Been Gone is so good.
Wow.
That's one of those where I'm like, damn it, I wish I could have thought of that one. That's great. So we have our Final Four here set.
Final Four time.
Yeah.
Final Four, we have a 1 seed, Zen Benyama, taking on the Cinderella, Aaron of Grievances.
Yeah. Well, it's a tight matchup. Both are excellent, but you just can't beat Aaron of Grievances because all of last year, all he did was have grievances about everything. Everything bothered him. Everything annoyed him. Everybody was out to get him. And so it's just the perfect headline. Aaron of Grievances is just really, that could be, if there was a 1980s poster of Aaron Rodgers, that could have been it. Aaron of Grievances. So that's just perfect.
That could have been well done. We'll also shout out the comments here as well. Drunkle Sam, I love Aiden's bracket jacket. That should be known as the bracket jacket from now on. I'm hearing so many oinks in my head. It's crazy. And yes, Matthew, a solid 5 oinks. Thank you, Matthew. We're wrapping up with the other side of the Final Four. Belichick's imbalances since you've been gone.
It's really hard. Really hard. These are 2 excellent ones. However, as good as Belichick's imbalances is, because I always love using somebody's name in a phrase, in a something it's easily remembered. Since You've Been Gone is so silly because it's a song by what's her name?
Kelly Clarkson.
But Kelly Clarkson,
employee of NBC.
I mean,
we're just dumping all of the references here in the last show.
A Kelly Clarkson song title that has Cincinnati since is just perfect. So that's elite stuff. That's elite work right there.
All right. If you can't breathe for the first time, it is the final of the matchup. Aaron of Grievances versus Since You've Been Gone to crown the champion. What's it going to be?
Oh boy, this is a very worthy national championship matchup. But again, I really value corny. I really value ridiculous. And so Since You've Been Gone has all of that, except Aaron of Grievances is so perfect that has to be your national champion.
Wow.
In the bracket of wordplay, Aaron of Grievances is your 2025 national champion. Very well done.
Cinderella has found its slipper, folks. The 1-3 seed in the Final Four makes its way to the top of the podium. Special shout out. And you know what? We'll do another shot here for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
So, in terms of segments that we have produced in my 2 years plus as executive producer, the central figure of most of them is probably Aaron Rodgers.
Totally,
so
yes.
It's very fitting.
Last season, I think every single Sunday night I did an Aaron Rodgers story. I'm pretty sure every single Sunday night was at least one Rodgers story. So this year it's been kind of quiet with the Rodgers, but that's a good thing for the Steelers. So that was great. Excellent work, buddy. Excellent work. And I just want to let everybody know Aiden ain't going away forever. As you know, he's always going to be all of the friends of the show always kind of keep coming back. It's why I love doing this show. It's why I'll always do this show. I just love doing a live show, especially on YouTube. YouTube is such a cool, and social media in general, but YouTube is such a cool platform for this. It can be visual, it can be live, it can be reactionary, it can be interactive. You guys get to join, I get to do my thing. We build a community, we build a family, and it just is all the things that I love. And so I always like thinking of the show, my radio show, but now this as an extension of the show, like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Your characters always come back. So on this show itself, we've had Huge Freeze, we've had Mraz multiple times, Bogish and Bilotti. Aiden obviously has been here for the last 2 years. We've had Boyle drop by. We've had Babs drop by. We've had everybody drop by. So it's always going to continue. And Aiden is certainly going to be one of those guys. But I will just say this, and because I think so highly of him. I knew the moment I asked him to do this job, it wasn't going to be forever because he's too damn talented. He's too good at what he does. And I just knew, I said, I need somebody that I can trust, that I know and love to get this thing up and running. But I know it's not forever. And Aiden, he is as loyal as they come. If you met him at Bob's Bar, if you met him at any of our events, you just know he's just like the best dude ever. And when he goes to the ice cream truck at Bob's Bar and comes back with Randy Trask and he's crying because Randy gave him the pep talk of all pep talks, because that's the type of guy that Randy is.
That wasn't allowed. We can't talk about that anymore. Come on.
It said everything, because Aiden is so heartfelt. He is so loyal. He believes in the good in people. It is why he's the perfect fit for this show and for what I do. And he's been an amazing co-pilot on this. And so I knew it was going to be forever, because I knew you had bigger and better things going to come your way, and you will always be rewarded for your work ethic, your humanity, and all the types of great qualities that you have. And so I'm not surprised, because it was only a matter of time, but I am super thrilled for you. And I think I speak for all the D-aliens that love you very much, man. Go do big things. Now you got to keep coming back to do college basketball, because we need you around here. I'm going to lean on you to be our college basketball and bracketologist. And so we'll our aficionado around here making tacos. And we'll also need you around here to teach the next guy. So you're not off the hook yet. At this moment in time, yes, you're allowed not to be the executive producer on Sunday nights, but that does not mean your shift is over. So there's plenty more work to be done.
I'm so excited to come back for college basketball stuff, because I've been an extra sicko the last couple weeks reading up, not in preparation for anything with this. It's just what I love. And yeah, throw in the comments that Marquette, got trounced by Indiana today. I watched. I had 3 TVs on my screen today watching my beloved Patriots beat the Bucks. We had Red Zone, and then we had Marquette basketball on the screen. So can't wait for that. And yes, I've told this to you privately and now publicly. We're going to leave the show in great hands. And using the word leave, we're always going to, be part of this. And, I'm so thankful for our relationship. It's the weekly Sunday night cadence where you may not see me, but of course, as we said, I'm going to be back for as much stuff as possible.
And this show is a really cool opportunity for the next executive producer of the show. It's a really cool project, vehicle, experiment. We get to do whatever we want with it. And there's something that's really glorious about not having any bosses or any brand or any company program director say, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. It comes out of our brains, whatever we want to do. It can go as long as we want. It can be as frequent as we want. It can be about whatever we want. It can just come out of our brains. And so it will attract a really special person. I promise you that. This job, this executive producer job, will attract a really special, cool person. And I'm excited to see who that is. I have not made a decision yet. I have notified a few people that I thought would be good fits. So, but I have not made a decision yet. And we'll see. But if you have any suggestions, more than happy to hear your suggestions. The type of person you might want, you might not even have a name in mind, but if there's a type of person that you'd like, or things that you'd like to see on the show, or things that we've done before that you'd like to see more of, things we haven't done you'd like us to try. It's exciting. This thing is special, and I will always do it because it means a lot to me, and it's really, really damn fun. It's just really fun to do. And I have to say that when I look in the comments and I see all you guys, it just makes me feel like I'm hanging out with my friends. And I said this after the Bob's Bar show. Everybody that I met at Bob's Bar, whether I met them for the first time or I've seen them multiple times, I really felt like you guys were my buds. Like I would hang out with if we were just like, we live next to one another. It's like, oh, let's go do this. Let's go to this game. Let's go to this bar. Let's go to this restaurant, whatever. So that's what makes this whole thing really, really cool. And whoever fills in for Aiden in those shoes, they're big shoes to fill, will be a great person, and they will get the benefit of how cool this audience is. And it's just great to see. And I encourage all of you guys to tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers about this show and about this channel, and say, join. You don't have to show up in the comments. You can just sit there and watch. You can just watch the show itself and watch how everybody joins in the party. But it's great. It's really great, and I love it. And I know Aiden loves it too. And you guys are the fuel that kind of makes this thing go. So it's going to be fun to see who the next person is in that role. We're always covered by the magic of Little Mo, and we always end off the show with your Little Mo laugh of the day. And this is cool. In Germany, now it's become a annual tradition where they play John Denver Country Roads and the entire stadium sings along. I could only imagine how cool Little Mo would think this is. So let's play a clip of the German audience going crazy today with Country Roads. Very cool. The entire audience cheering along, rocking along. That was pretty cool. And it was a day in which I saw a couple of people in the stands that were wearing both teams' jersey, or one of the team's jerseys and the other team's hat. And I'm like, I don't even understand how you could be rooting for both teams in this game. I just like the way. It was the weirdest thing. I saw somebody with a Colts jersey and a Falcons hat on. I'm like, okay. But at least they sang. At least they sang. All right. Hey, Aiden, a final so long, buddy. You did a great job the last 2 years, my man. Thank you for all the hard work. I'm sure you'll be back again, but this was a final, awesome final episode.
Thank you for giving me enough time to do this silly bracket that we did. And I look forward to jumping on the next Ask D.A. Anything. I will do much more with the Jedi Council about my personal life. And if people are interested in that, absolutely. But like I said, you will still see me. And I want to thank everybody that's been so nice in the chat and so loving. Means the world to me, because as I said in my little spiel, the people that listen to this show are second to none, and including Randy that made me cry, Bob's Bar this year. Another Hall of Famer, Kristen Buffalo. I wanted to announce her revival with the Football Foods of the Week. She has gotten right back up after having baby in Buffalo, and she submitted one this week for the two LA teams, Rams and 49ers today. Week 10 Football Food of the Week is the Korean barbecue sandwich on sourdough with the homemade kimchi mayo and DA's favorite white rice in a store-bought kimchi sauce. You didn't have to say that it was store-bought, Kristen. Come on. You're doing enough effort.
Oh, that looks great. She's awesome. Wow. I love that. Yes, we'll continue getting the football food of the week now that she is back doing it. That is awesome. And a few comments as well before we get out of here. I'm liking some of these puns. As Wallace writes in, General Mills was a serial killer of the Jags today. Very nice. Serial spelled Cereal. Love it. Moist Pork, I'm trying to decide if I could stay Stefanski's got to go or if it's not his fault. I think Stefanski's going to get this pass because of the ridiculousness at the quarterback position. But I don't know if there was ever any risk of him losing his job this year. I feel like at this point, Jimmy Haslam has admitted Deshaun Watson was my mistake, and I'm going to let this whole crew just, roll over because of it, roll over to next year. Colin says, I'd say fire Daboll, but who takes over? Bo needs to be fired first. And that is absolutely true. You can fire Brian Daboll, but who's going to end up being your interim head coach? I wonder if that's part of the reason Daboll's still on the sideline. They don't have an assistant coach to step in there. Bowen's a disaster. Another comment here from 99999 Deoxys, who says, Damon, would love to hear you back on New England radio again. Shout out to your time there several years ago. Thoughts on the Pats returning to the throne for a decade or two again? Well, it's a little early to say that. I'm a very big Drake May fan. I love his decision-making. I love his athleticism. I love his arm. I love his humility. I think he's just a fantastic, fantastic young quarterback. And I said this 2 years ago, the Giants winning a meaningless game down the stretch in 2023 was the stupidest thing they could have done. There was a draft of Caleb, of Jaden, and of Drake May, and they didn't get any of the three because they won a meaningless game down the stretch. And it's going to haunt them forever. And maybe Jackson Dart's their guy, but Drake May would have been better. It's early for me to say that, the Patriots return to dominance, but there's no doubt they're now winning games against good teams as well, not just bad teams. The win over the Buccaneers today was one of those. So I thought that was very impressive. And here you also have Matt saying, Aiden, make sure you remind DA where that audio button is before you leave so we don't have another half hour of stand-up mime acts. Congrats. That is true. We did a Ask DA Anything, and I was running it myself, and I didn't realize my microphone wasn't working. And so for the first 30 minutes, I did a soliloquy, really, and then it was only once I stopped talking for a breath that I saw the comments saying, DA, we can't hear you. So that was a full, it was like 28 minutes I did by myself and nobody heard it. So I think we have that figured out, but yeah, Aiden, you'll just have to leave the instruction manual behind. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight here on the show. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy Sunday Night Football. Hopefully, it will be a good game. I will see you tomorrow morning on the airwaves on Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Channel 82. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, okay? Make sure you're subscribed and join as a member to be part of this week's Ask DA Anything. I'll let you know tomorrow whether it's going to be Tuesday night or Wednesday night when we will do the Ask DA Anything, a live chat for members only, okay? Be good. Be good to one another. For Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel and executive producer, I'm DA Damon Amendolara. Have a great night, everybody. And I'm signing off.